31, laws of 1975 of the state of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the South River Board of Education was provided in the following manner. On January 17, 2024, the notice was delivered to the office of the South River Borough Clerk and posted at the Board of Education Administration Building. On January 17, 2024, and June 18, 2024, the notice was faxed, mailed to the following newspapers: Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger. On January 17, 2024, the notice was posted at the South River Borough Clerk's office. Mr. Rosa, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Beza. Here. Mr. Butson. Here. Mrs. Bush.
Here.
Mrs. Byrne.
Here.
Mrs. Lau.
Here.
Mr. Nielsen. Here. Mrs. Sadowski.
Here.
Mrs. Young-Yao.
Here.
Mrs. Urbana.
Here. Thank you. Okay, our meeting begins with the first item on the agenda under our board secretary. We have the minutes. Mr. Rosa.
No additions from our pre-meeting.
Okay, thank you. Board members,
Move the reading of the minutes.
we have a motion by Vice President Nielsen. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Sadowski. Any questions on the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Under use of facilities, Mr. Rosa.
We got two additions. Number 1595, 1596 of South River Parks and Recreation.
Board members, what would you like on the use of facilities?
Move the use of facilities in accordance with board policies.
We have a motion by Vice President Nielsen. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bush or Ms. Lowe. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries. Next up on our agenda, we have our financial report by Ms. Lowe.
Thank you. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby certifies that it is in receipt of a financial report which indicates that no major account has been overexpended and that sufficient funds are available to meet the district's financial obligations for the remainder of the fiscal year. The Finance Committee recommends that the reports of the Board Secretary and the Treasurer of School Monies for May 2024 be approved, and I so move.
We have a motion by Ms. Lowe
Second.
and a second by Ms. Bush. All in favor? Thank you. At this time, the meeting is going to be turned over to our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Zurcher.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Urbanek. A couple of items on my report today. I want to begin by talking about classroom and teacher assignments. We will be opening up our parent portal to parents on August 19th. Through this portal, parents will be able to view their child's schedule, teacher, classroom assignment, but in order to access this information, our parents will have to first review and sign all of the annual required forms. So that will be open again on August 19th. Classroom supply lists. Some of them are already prepared, but all of our classroom supply lists will be posted on our district website by August 2nd. And what parents will find is that when they come to our school website or our district website, there will be an alert message, and on that message they'll be able to click the school, and then they'll be able to see a supply list for every single grade level, again by August 2nd. Clear backpacks are again going to be available from the district. Each school is going to send out pickup dates and pickup information, so parents can pick up those clear backpacks as they need them. I want to talk a little bit about our advanced placement courses and our high school data. Our advanced placement courses provide high school students an opportunity to accumulate college-level credits before high school graduation. So these high-level courses also prepare students for college-level learning. And while we understand and definitely know that all of our students are not college-bound, the district does encourage our students to, regardless, to challenge themselves with just this rigorous content and this rigorous opportunity. So we now offer 12 advanced placement courses, and we are proud to announce that our South River High School has increased AP participation and enrollment by 31% heading into the 24-25 school year. So that's from the 23-24. And in 23-24, we also had a large increase from 22-23. So we're absolutely trending exactly as we should. 13% more students in 23-24 also scored a 3 or higher on their AP exams. And once again, this is the second year in a row where our AP students are scoring higher and higher. So we're really glad to see that. Most of our students need a 3 or higher on these exams in order to get that college credit. So we're real happy to report that. I want to speak about our upcoming football season and Denny Stadium. Denny Stadium is going to be ready for the upcoming fall season. You may have noticed that those visitor bleachers are now back to the visitor side of the stadium after our graduation, where they were placed on the field. And sets of portable bleachers, they are really a permanent bleacher system, are going to be placed on the home side of the stadium. This was in our budget presentation that we presented and sent out to parents in April. So we do have those bleachers coming. They actually should be arriving next week, so we're excited about that. The visitor bleachers, like I said, will remain on the opposite side. The bathrooms will be moved over to our home side as well. The concession stand has had a significant upgrade, including all new cooking, warming, prep equipment, freshly painted walls, floors, and then new slide-down metal shades with our school logo are also going to be installed. We also had some trees there that we were sharing with some neighbors. We worked out with those neighbors to take those trees down. They had some crab apples that were quite frankly dangerous while people were standing at the concession stand, but also bringing animals and rodents into the concession stand. So we took care of those, and we'll be taking care of some more of the landscaping around the concession stand this summer. Let's see. So it's not the major renovation that we were hoping for in the referendum, but certainly will give us a great opportunity for a nice football season for sure. In addition to that, you may have noticed our turf field, our multi-sport turf field, which was also presented in our budget back in April, was sent out to our parents in the budget documents. And just a reminder, all of our information does go out on Fridays in our email, and it's also posted on our district website. And every single month, my superintendent's report is also posted on our website under the superintendent tab. So that's another place where you can get information.
I'm covered.
But the turf field, work on that turf field, which is for all of our soccer teams, baseball and softball, is beginning. One of the other benefits of that turf field is we will be using it for PE classes, and we will be using it for recess. So really it's a benefit for our students in elementary school and up. So we're excited that work has started. There were some questions about fencing around that field at the bottom of the hill. That fencing is temporary. It's not a permanent fence. We've added no new fencing around that field, and we won't be adding any fencing around that field as it just doesn't necessity. So the pre-K and early learning center, we are on schedule. We had a meeting today. We are now up to a schedule where we meet once a week with the construction crew, the construction manager, as well as our architects, engineers, and the site coordinators. And we met this morning. Everything is on schedule as planned. As a reminder, our pre-K program for 24-25 is completely full. We do remain with a waiting list of about 40 students. Even though that's a 12-classroom building. We also have 2 classrooms over at our Head Start program in South Amboy, and we also have 2 classrooms remaining over at the primary school. And we still have our waiting list. And so concludes my report. I'll take any questions or comments at this moment.
Board members, any questions or
I have a couple.
comments?
First, to the Early Learning Center. For the general public, the governor's office just released $33 million for upgrades to pre-existing pre-K programs in schools that don't have pre-K programs to start pre-K programs. And, for all the bitching and moaning that you people do on social media, nobody comes here to the thing to ask the right questions. I think our administration saw that coming down the road, and we got out ahead of it, and we're ahead of it. We are ahead of everybody on that, and I think they should all be congratulated for having the foresight to see it coming and to implement it, and it's going to be a wonderful thing. It's not going to be a babysitting service like some people are saying. Second, on the classroom supply list, the state of New Jersey, again, in its wisdom, has done away this year with the tax credit for preschool purchases for computers for college kids, and anything that can be used for students in school. So if you have students who were in middle school last year and going up to high school or something, and you have some of the crayons or glue sticks or something that that may help out some of our other families. I know my wife and I found a box of things from when our boys were down there. They're still never been opened, so we'll be donating them to some. The PTA can probably tell us where. I know a couple of religious organizations are looking around. So, to help the less fortunate out who are going to need these supplies and won't get that tax credit that the state has given us for the last 2 or 3 years, that would be a help. So that's all I have to say about that.
Thank you. May I add something? I'm going to speak in terms of communication that we've had through the Booster Club. At our Booster Club meeting, Mr. Nielsen and I were there along with a handful of other parents, and Ms. Stewart expressed deep appreciation for all of the work with the concession stand in terms of working alongside her for what kind of items, asking her input in terms of her years of experience using the concession stand, and she truly values the open communication that the district has with her and how it's there now to benefit not just the fall sports teams that may use that, but in addition to that, through Booster and through the rec department, they've created a partnership, and it's to the benefit of all athletic teams. And for those of you that know that she gave out 22 scholarships, a lot of that funding came from the ability of the board approving a lot of the facility usages that she runs through Booster Club. So I just wanted to add in, since you mentioned so much about the concession stand, that there is an immediate 100% impact to our athletes and to our general student population when that becomes used through Booster Club. That's my
Thank you. Any other board members wishing to comment? And board members, what is your pleasure on the superintendent's report?
Move the superintendent's report is read.
We have a motion by Vice President Nielsen. Is there a second by Ms. Byrne? Seeing no more questions or comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The superintendent's report passes. At this time, the Board of Education is going to open its meeting for the public to address agenda items only. There will be a open public portion later on in the meeting for any matters for the Board of Education. If you have anything that you'd like to address with regard to the agenda items, we ask that you come to the microphone, state your name and address, and please keep your comments to a 10-minute time limit. Anyone from the public on first call?
My name is Norman Schoenberg. I just heard a few things I'm just curious about. Something's being done with the turf. I remember there was a budget item that was turned down and vote to fix the bleachers and to redo the turf. Well, I guess the turf has been redone, the bleachers have been fixed. That's what I gathered just from hearing today.
I can clarify. So we had a referendum for the stadium and the turf field at the stadium. That's what was voted down.
Yes.
Then we received our state aid figures in the spring. We did receive additional funding from the prior year, and we've allocated that funding in a variety of ways, definitely all posted in that budget presentation that I spoke to. But two of the items that are new for this budget and are being paid for through local funding are the multi-use turf field, which is now going to be located behind the elementary school because we can serve more students at that field. And then,
This isn't any stadiums,
correct.
Oh,
And then also a set of bleachers, not a bleacher system, but definitely bleachers that will accommodate our crowd size.
So this is certainly bleaching, not as expensive as the plant.
Correct,
And
correct.
then there's a thing about building or acquiring a building for a preschool. I see a building being built, that was the funds that came from the state, did you mention? To build a pre-calculated structure.
So again, the early learning center was something that we also went out to referendum to do a 2-story brick and mortar building.
And it was
That,
there.
right, so that referendum failed, and so we still had the need for the pre-K students, and so we went back to the drawing board to come up with another plan, and a plan that we could afford, again, through our local budget. So we have funded that building through what's called a lease purchase, so we are paying for that building over a period of time. And it is not a 2-story building, it is a modular building, which is a lot more affordable. And in terms of the pre-K program itself, the pre-K program, the staffing, the resources, everything in that program is being funded by a grant that we have been receiving since school year 18-19.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public wishing to speak on any agenda items at this time? Again, on first call, second call, third call. This public portion is now closed. At this time, we are going to go over our consent resolution for approval. Mr. Rosa, would you go over what's on the consent resolution?
South River Board of Education, by means of a consent resolution, adopt various resolutions of a routine and non-controversial nature at one time. Whereas the below listed resolutions are hereby adopted by the said Board of Education in whole, as if the same were individually acted upon, and those are under athletics 6.1, under finance 8.1 through 8.38, under instruction 9.1 through 9.9, under human resources 12.2 to 12.48, and under safety and risk management 13.1 and 13.2.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion on the consent resolution?
Move the consent resolution.
Motion by Vice President Nielsen, second by Ms. Bush. Are there any items that any board members would like to have read separately, or any abstentions on any of the items under consent? Seeing none, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Bezak.
Yes.
Mr. Butts.
Yes.
Mrs. Bush.
Yes.
Mrs. Byrne.
Yes.
Mrs. Lau.
Yes.
Mr. Nielsen.
Yes.
Mrs. Hadassah.
Yes.
Mrs. Young Yao.
Yes.
Mrs. Urbaniak.
Yes,
Motion passed.
thank you. At this time, we're going to go into our committee reports with our athletics extracurricular. Mr. Woodson.
There's only one item, it's the annual NJSIAA membership. That's all I have.
Thank you. Our
Madam President, I'd just like to acknowledge Julius Rosato, who's going to be a senior this year. He's been selected to the area code game, which will be played out in California later this summer. Julius is already committed to Rutgers University to play baseball. He did very well at the tryouts in Arizona last month, or early, it was earlier in July. So good luck to Julius in his career, and let's hope he does well in the next couple of weeks.
Very nice, thank you for that information. Any other comments under buildings and grounds?
No. That was athletics.
Athletics, I'm sorry. Now, buildings and grounds.
Now
Mr.
we-
Nielsen, Vice President Nielsen.
As the Dr. Richard spoke to in her report, as you can also see when you came in tonight, that the new equipment is in the building, and our staff is putting it up, and we will be ready to go. The hallways have been cleaned, that has that new school year smell to it. So, we're all getting ready for September, when we welcome all our students and staff back. The waiting room was beautiful. Yeah, have you put pictures on the social media sites?
Not yet,
All
no.
right, I'm telling you, yeah, the waiting room came out very well. I showed pictures to my son the other night, and they're excited about it, and they're excited that it's also going to be worked into in their classroom exercises, not just something that can be done through sports. That's all I have, Madam President.
Thank you. Our Finance Committee, Ms. Lowe.
Thank you so much. There are 6 new items from Monday night's meeting that I would like to read into the record, please. 8.33, addition approved contract with the Solaro Learning Monmouth Middlesex County Preschool Education Program Services for the 24-25 school year. 8.34, addition approved contract No Reading High School ELA program for the 24-25 school year. 8.35, addition approved contract from McGraw Hill LLC ALEX program for the 24-25 school year. 8.36, addition rescind the Gillespie Group via the New Jersey State Co-op contract, Educational Services Commission, flooring services for elementary and middle schools. 8.37, addition approved LBJ Interior Solutions LLC via ESCNJ, stairway treads and landing services for the elementary and middle schools. And 8.38, addition approved contract, Employee Services LLC, Employee Assistant Program Services Provider for the 24-25 school year, and that is all I have.
Thank you. Our Instruction Committee, Ms. Bush.
Sure, we have 3 additions since Monday evening. 9.7 is approved 24-25 district professional development plan. 9.8, approved field trip 24-25 school year. And 9.9, addition approved charter school student tuition for the 24-25 school year. That's all I have this evening.
Thank you. There are no items under negotiations, policy and legislation. Ms. Byrne?
There's no.
Thank you. Under our Human Resources Committee, Mr. Bezak.
Thank you, Madam President. I have 9 additions since Monday evening that will be covered under consent and 1 item under consent. Item 12.40, addition approved reappointed special education non-bargaining staff 2024-2025 school year. Item 12.41, addition approved middle school co-curricular advisors 2024-2025 school year. Item 12.42, addition approved appoint Alexandra Vargas, primary school teacher 2024-2025 school year. Item 12.43, addition approved disability sick maternity family leave Mary Greenberg, primary school speech language pathology 2024-2025 school year. Item 12.44, addition approved appoint Alicia Epstein, elementary school special education teacher 2024-2025 school year. Item 12.45, addition approved appoint Cecilia Alvera, primary school education, special education teacher 2024-2025 school year. Item 12.46, addition approved appoint Kate Miolanko, high school ELA teacher 2024-2025 school year. Item 12.47, addition approved staff transfers 2024-2025 school year. And item 12.48, addition approved appoint Marie Paul Shea, primary school leave replacement teacher 2024-2025 school year. And those items will be covered in consent, and I have 1 item that must be separately. A motion to approve the rescission of the 2021-2026 employment agreement with the superintendent of schools with Sylvana R. Zurcher, effective July 1st, 2024, and approve the replacement employment agreement effective July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2029, as reviewed and approved by the Middlesex County Executive Superintendent.
And is that your motion?
That's my motion, yes.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Bezak. Is there a second by Vice President Nielsen? Any comments with regard to item 12.1? Rosa, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Basil?
Yes.
Mr. Butson?
Yes.
Mrs. Bush?
Yes.
Mrs. Byrne?
Yes.
Mrs. Lau?
Yes.
Mr. Nielsen?
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Young Yao?
Yes.
Mrs. Urbaniak?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Our next committee is Safety and Risk Management. Ms. Sadowski.
Thank you. There is one additional item since Monday night's meeting, item 13.2. Addition approved award First Student Inc. Route number SRSB to St. Bartholomew School for the 24-25 school year. That's all I have.
Thank you. And for School Community Relations, Ms. Young Yao.
There's nothing on the agenda.
Okay. Our School Board Borough Council Liaison Committee, Vice President Nielsen.
I have nothing to report, but Councilman DeZemian is again in the audience tonight. Nice to see you again, Hank. He does reach out to me prior to the borough meetings and see if there's anything that I would like to have read at his meeting. That's good to see. I like that open dialogue that Mr. DeZemian and I have, and we'll keep it up as long as he and I are both in these seats. Thank you, Hank. That's all I have, Madam President.
Thank you. Our PTA Liaison, Ms. Sadowski.
Thank you. So the primary and elementary school PTAs are already preparing for fundraising and events that are occurring in the school year. I do believe that they will be, or some of them will be attending the Edmund Summer Festival as well as National Night Out for their fundraising efforts and for lunch.
One of the easiest things you can do to increase your chances.
Thank you. South River Public Library Liaison, Mr. Goodson.
A week and a half ago, the library had a boat party, 45 kids, 80 adults present. Yesterday, they had a wet day and an obstacle course. Tonight, they're having a Harry Potter birthday party. The summer program is continuing. If anyone wants to more information, go to the library webpage. And all this is there. That's all I have.
Thank you. At this time, we usually hear from our student board representative. Right now, the young lady has not gone through the orientation, but would you please like to just acknowledge
Would you like
her?
to introduce yourself?
Good evening, my name is.
Would you come to the mic, please? Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Bobby Smith, and I'm a senior this year. I was selected to be board representative for the students.
Thank you. We look forward to you being in our meetings.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Is there any old or new business to come before the board?
I have a couple of things under new business. Our district will be holding a table at National Night Out. Several representatives from the district will be there. So we encourage parents in the community to stop by, ask your questions, give us your feedback, just stop by and chat with us. We'll have some giveaways, and we always have a candy basket which attracts the kids. And August 6th. Yep. And then also, I just wanted to just give a quick update on some of the other things going around the campus. Our high school addition is pretty much finished, and we are just about ready to move furniture in. That was our addition that was really 98% grant funded. So we're excited to be able to open that. 3 brand new classrooms. They will be 2 instructional spaces, 1 media type space, and then a dance/multi-purpose space as well. So we're excited to be opening that definitely for September. It is also attached to another courtyard space that will be used for an outdoor classroom space for the high school as well. So that's ready to open. As Mr. Nielsen mentioned, the weight room is now ready to use. Our coaches are going to be going through some training, as well as our PE teachers, to work with our kids and our students and our teachers for the use of the weight room. And then also in the primary school, we are doing a renovation to the media center, painting, new flooring, new furniture, as well as painting throughout those hallways. The paint in that school was original to that building. So it was definitely overdue. So it's getting a fresh coat of paint, and it already just looks so much fresher, brighter for the kids and teachers when they return. And then the elementary school is also getting a fresh coat of paint, same thing. New lighting, LED lighting, which is cost savings to the district, but also provides much brighter lighting for our students and teachers at the elementary and middle school. That's almost completed as well. So all of those budget items that we planned for in April are really coming along and really will be completed before our kids come back. And the courtyard attached to the courtyard at the middle school. That's right. So if you recall, at our middle school across from the media center, there was a courtyard with some large overgrown greenery. We thought we could really benefit from using that space. This project is also partially grant funded. And what we did was we got rid of all of that, the really just overgrown weeds. And we are turning that space into an area that the students can use as a pass-through, but also some seating for outdoor. Our teachers love to take the kids outside for learning activities, so being able to give them these spaces to extend the learning to outdoors has been great. That project we also predict will be completed by the time kids come back in September. So that's moving along nicely also. New business.
A lot of exciting things happening. Thank you. Our attorney's report, Mr. Park.
I do not have a report.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Lill for the payment of bills.
Thank you. The Finance Committee recommends that all bills presented, having been certified by the School Business Administrator Board Secretary, be paid as listed, and I so move.
We have a motion by Ms. Lill,
Second.
second by Ms. Sadowski. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. As promised, at this time, we are now going to reopen the Board of Education meeting for the reception of visitors so that the public may address any concern or comment that they have for the board. If you come to the microphone, please state your name and address, and please keep your comments to a 10-minute time limit. This would be on first call.
My name is Norman Scheinberg. This is a continuation of the talks I've been giving. This is probably about the fourth or fifth talk. I'm lost track.
Is that turned on?
I'm talking right into it, but it's not coming down. Beyond position. Well, it's really beyond position. It's on now? Okay. As I was saying before, this is probably about the fourth or maybe fifth time that we talk to you about school shootings and armed officers in the school. It's the end of the school year. I'm happy to report again. Nobody's been killed in the state of New Jersey. They were shot while the school is in session. No students have been shot and killed, died. There's been 169 years of public education in New Jersey. I think the first one started about 1855. And over all those 169 years, nobody has been shot and killed in a New Jersey school. We've actually had, over the last 50 years, 7 students shot. There was one recently in March in Newark. It was during dismissal. This is a very common occurrence for a school shooting. School shooting is very rare. They typically occur this way. It occurred during dismissal. The student was outside the school. He was probably on the public sidewalks, and it was a drive-by shooting. They don't know why he was shot. At least there's no reports in the newspapers. They say it's unknown why he was shot. He lived. Of the 7 students that have been shot over the last 50 years, statistically we would have expected 1 or 2 to die, so we're pretty lucky. By the way, keep in mind, at the same time, or in fact just over the last 25 years, there's been about 500 students shot and killed, died, outside of school, which means there's probably close to 3,000 to 4,000 young people have been shot in the state of New Jersey at the same time that 7 have been shot in school. And in case you don't remember, I'll remind you that the chances of a student getting struck by lightning, according to statistics on the web, is higher than getting shot in school. Nationwide, there's about 40 students struck by lightning. About 10 students would be killed from falling to the tree branches. Nobody's doing anything about that. But everybody's up in arms about school shootings, which are even rarer than that. By the way, nationwide, there was 13 students killed in the whole nation this year. That's a typical year. Of those 13 killed, 6 of them were in the parking lot. Another one was a drive-by, another one was ambush. One was inside the school. So one student this year was killed. Out of 50 million students, one was killed in a school. That hit the national news. That was Perry, Iowa. You probably heard that in the news. They killed the principal and a student. The student came in with a gun, shot the principal and the student. It was just before school began, but students were there. So, okay, what I have over here now is what I've given you out as the next handout. I've given you out a number of handouts. And this handout, handout I gave you was about guns mishandled by school security officers. Remember, we're heading towards 100,000 guns put in school. If every school in the country had an armed security officer and there'd be 100,000 guns, you put 100,000 guns every day among 50 million students. What could possibly go wrong? Well, let's see. I'll just read a few of them. A school resource officer unintentionally discharged his firearm in his office at the school. A school security guard unintentionally shot a school maintenance worker in the eye while showing him his gun. But all these are sourced with newspaper reports. There's probably a lot more, but they just maybe didn't make it in the newspaper. A school resource officer unintentionally discharged his duty-issued handgun in his office at the school. A wall was struck. A school resource officer was leaning against the cafeteria wall with his agency-issued weapons fired around into the wall while still in the office's holster. I'll skip some. A sheriff's deputy unintentionally discharged his gun while alone in a classroom. A teacher in the adjacent classroom was hit in the neck, but wasn't really hurt. An off-duty police officer serving as a school security guard left a gun in the school bathroom where it was discovered by 3 young students. By the way, that's most of the things, where just school resource officers go to the bathroom, I guess, have to take off their gun and leave it. Some student finds it and turns it in. Another one over here. A child pulled the trigger of a gun in an officer's holster while the officer was visiting the classroom. A 5th grade student took a security guard's gun out of his holster and held it. There were no shots fired. During the physical struggle between a student and an officer, the officer's gun unintentionally discharged when the student tried to grab it. Another one. A 13-year-old girl became combative with officers during the investigation. An officer's gun went off from inside the holster. The student suffered a graze wound. Last one I'll read. An elementary school student being escorted out of the classroom reached into a deputy's holster and pulled the trigger of a semi-automatic pistol. Fortunately, there were no injuries. And there's a lot of, this was just 5 years. And that isn't all of it. There's a lot more of them listed here. So, given this, I mean, no matter how well-trained an officer is, no matter how careful he is, people make mistakes. We hear about that all the time from police officers. So the question then is, should you be worried that your officer's gun might be used to injure a student after reading this? And the answer is no, you shouldn't be worried. I have here a few dozen examples of guns being misused. There's tens of thousands of these officers in school. The probability of your officer injuring your student with a gun is extremely small, but it could happen. And that's what everybody says to me when I tell them that the probability of a school shooting like Uvalde will occur in South River about once every 100,000 years. They tell me, but it could happen. But it's ridiculous. Nobody worries about things with 100,000 years. There's about 1 mass shooting per year in school. Like I said, there was 1 in school this year where a student shot at people, 1 died. There's 100,000 schools. Regular school shootings is maybe 1 in 10,000 years. Look, there's 100,000, you typically have about 10 deaths per year in school. You have over 2,000 outside of school, students being shot. And by the way, does the school resource officer actually do anything? Remember, I showed you 3 studies of statistics that showed in schools that have resource officers, there is no reduction in the number of shootings. That would suggest they don't reduce shootings. And they try to control for all variables except an officer. And one showed that once a shooting breaks out, there's actually about 3 times more casualties. The people who wrote that report chalked it up to something called the weapons effect. The weapons effect simply is that when the shooter sees a weapon, I'm not saying this is true, but this is what they say, when a shooter sees a weapon, he shoots more. And keep in mind, these shootings don't occur in the school. They're over in split seconds, like the one that occurred, the drive-by shooting. Now, you remember the one where the parents just recently went to jail? I think that was in Oxford, Michigan. You heard that on the news, I'm sure. They gave the school, the kid a gun, and they received long prison sentences. There was an armed school resource officer there. She's on video shown doing nothing. She actually walked by a body laying on the floor that was bleeding. When the investigator said to her, "Why didn't you do anything?" she said she didn't understand what was going on. She was confused. She thought it was an Alice drill. In fact, she's being sued along with other people. She may have a different scenario, but that's what the investigator said. That she said once the municipal police came, which was a few minutes later, then she got going. She realized something was happening and she went with the municipal police. In all the examples I can come across, whether it be Columbine that had a resource officer, nothing. Parkland, the resource officer stood trial for doing nothing. Uvalde, there are two policemen going on trial now, criminally. One is the chief of police. He's been in the news a lot, but one was listed as a special school security officer. Apparently the shooter walked by him. He was confused. He didn't know what he was doing. And when he heard about a shooting, he thought it was some teacher. These things are normally over in seconds. When people look at how these shootings are averted, because some people say maybe the resource officers avert these shootings. Well, I presented tables for that as well. I presented the results of the National Threat Assessment Center. That's the data I gave you. National Threat Assessment Center, run by the Secret Service. And more importantly, I showed you a chart from the National Police Foundation. That National Police Foundation, I'm able to find for them on the web, appears to be a private organization funded mostly by the government that trains police officers. And they have how school shootings are averted. And again, school shootings are averted by somebody sees something, somebody knows something, somebody says something. A very common scenario, as they give on the web, I've seen averted shootings, is a student thinks something's going to happen, and he goes to the school authority. Very often it's the principal. The principal then goes to the resource officer. The resource officer then calls the municipal police. The municipal police handle it because they're capable of doing it. They can come with the numbers and the proper equipment. Imagine your resource officer coming into the classroom saying, where's Michael Smith? I think he has a gun, or I want to see Michael Smith, and Michael Smith has a gun. If that student is really going to shoot someone because he didn't take it for his own protection or something, he's going to pull out the gun immediately and start shooting. I mean, it's just not going to work, and I think the officer has enough sense to know he needs backup. He's going to take some shooter. The other thing to keep in mind is why do these shootings not occur in school? Why do they occur when the students are leaving the school or entering it? After all, who wants to commit murder in front of a large number of witnesses that know them? It's extremely rare somebody would do that. That person is quite psychologically disturbed and nothing is going to stop it. Nothing you can do to stop it. I want to make another point. Do I have any more time?
No, you don't. So I was just going to tell you, thank you very much for, again, some information that you'd like us to look at.
Okay.
I know our superintendent will pass it along to our security.
I have a little more to talk, so I'll probably do it next time. Maybe
Okay,
another-
thank you.
I really wish you'd give me another 10 minutes and I'd finish up, but you never have.
No. Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to come forward on first call?
Good evening, my name is Malcolm Cumberbatch. I live in Westminster Boulevard, Harlem, New Jersey. I just have a question of consideration about the gym space as far as the floor is concerned. I'm the volleyball coach here at Top River High School, and over the past 4 years, I've coached the team. One of the things that I pride myself on is making sure that our visitors and guests, when they come into the gym, that it's always prepared, it's clean, it's make sure the floor is ready for the students, athletes to participate, that it's not slippery. And one of the things I've asked about was getting the gym floors waxed before our season in September. I was told that the gym floors are only waxed for basketball season because basketball use the gym a lot and so on and so forth. And over the past couple of years, as I, watch the kids sweep the floor, it's still slippery, it's still a mess during the volleyball season. During basketball season, they don't have that problem. One of the things that I do at times when it's that bad is I end up mopping the floor myself because I represent South River, and I don't want our guests coming into our house seeing the floors messy, seeing the floor still too slippery. Somebody could get hurt beyond what volleyball requires. And one of the things I'm asking, it's a question of consideration, is would we be able to switch during the floors in November to September, the beginning of the school year, to where volleyball would have that floor, space-time clean properly? Because when the floor is waxed, all you really need to do is sweep the floor. If it's not waxed, you have to sweep it and mop it at times, depending on how often the gym is used during the school day. As I said, it's just a question of consideration, because I've mopped the floor several times, so our guests who comes and plays us doesn't look at the floor, look at South River and say, hey, the floor is dirty, this is messed up, our floors is clean, and so on and so forth. So one of my questions to the board is, would it be possible if you can discuss how, the floors can be cleaned in September for volleyball season? Well, our season actually starts in August, late August. But if it can be cleaned in September, it'd still be good for the basketball season, when the basketball season is there. But as I said, I just wanted to know that's something the board can consider, and thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Dr. Zercher, can you look into that?
I certainly can. I know we have an item on our agenda
You
for
know, something about
gym,
floors being.
Yeah, being redone.
and it's actually on this agenda to be done before the start of the school year. So I read your mind.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public wishing to address the board on any matters that are of our concern?
I did have a question for Johnson. I consider myself very intelligent. Warren, if you would.
Well, maybe you want to save it for the next one? Okay, thank you. He seems to be engaged fully. Anyone else from the public wishing to speak on first call? On second call? On third call? This public portion of this meeting is now closed, and not having an executive session, is there a motion to adjourn?
Nielsen.
Motion by Vice President Nielsen, second by Mr. Bezak. All in favor? Aye. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.